welcome to the Daily Coffee Chat. It is Thursday. So glad that you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to be joined in just a few minutes with Karl Bastian. Karl Bastian is the creator of Kidologist.org. He is a children's pastor, and I can't wait for you to hear from Karl in just a few moments as we talk about connecting with kids. Hey, good morning, everybody. If you're catching this today on the podcast, thank you. Make sure that you rate and review the podcast, please. Those of you watching on YouTube, we're glad you're here. Those of you on Facebook, thank you as well. We're going to jump right in. I am pumped to have Karl Bastian with us. Karl Bastian is the founder of Kidology.org. Karl, you can jump on here with me in just a moment. Those of you that subscribe to Kids Matter magazine, which I hope is all of you, one of our most favorite features in Kids Matter magazine is the world of kids, where we always devote 4 or 5 pages to talking about what's going on with kids these days. And the world of kids is submitted by Kidology.org. Karl has a group of kids pastors that he works with, and they put this together for us every issue. It's one of my favorite parts of the magazine because it's a great way just to stay relevant and connected with kids. And you'll see right here, we always run in an ad from Kidology.org. They've been great partners of our magazine, our ministry for several years. If you're not a part of Kidology.org, I want to encourage you to go check that out at some point. Pastor Karl, are you here?
I am.
Okay, I'm hearing you, not seeing you.
It says the host has my video camera turned off.
Well, that's weird. All right, let's see. Andy, can you turn his camera on?
There we go.
Hey, what's
Andy
going
must have
on?
the power. He must have the power.
He does. How are you, Karl?
I'm doing good. Crazy season of ministry, is it not?
Oh, it is bizarre. You're in Colorado. Are kids going back to school?
It depends on the city. We don't have a statewide ban, so it's every city fending for themselves. So
okay.
But yeah, we tend to be a little more liberal state. So we've got the mask mandate that was issued for 30 days. Everyone expects it to be extended probably every 2 weeks until the election. So we just play ball. We look at what the early Christians went through and what our brothers and sisters in persecuted, countries are going through for Christ. So we say, hey, we can wear a mask. You know what I mean?
We can do it. We can do it.
You know what I mean?
Now, Karl just returned from a trip to the Bahamas, or was it Hawaii?
Hey, man, if you want to have a great attitude, you got to dress.
You got to dress for it, don't you?
You got to dress positive.
You got to dress for it. I think the first time I met Karl Bastian, now this is before Karl and I were really friends, but I knew of Karl and Kidology. I attended a children's pastors conference. I saw a guy riding a unicycle around the hallway, and I'm like, I think that is Karl Bastian riding a unicycle.
Yeah, when CDC was at Town and Country, San Diego.
That's right.
I bought a unicycle and left it in California with a friend so that every year I could ride around the grounds on my unicycle.
Oh my word. Everybody saw you coming. Those were good days.
Yeah.
At the Town and Country Resort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes that seems like that was a lifetime ago. We went to Town and Country Resort.
I'll have to bring them to the
place.
next MegaCon and ride it around MegaCon.
Oh man. You think they're still doing events probably not during this pandemic, but I imagine that place is still open and running.
Yeah, they moved when it closed for remodeling, and then they ended up not going back there. But it was a nice venue.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Karl, I don't know if you could hear what I was saying, but I was kind of talking up the world of kids in the magazine.
I was. In fact, this month we've got the ad for the trading cards. Those were created by an amazing kids pastor named Dan Huffman. No, why am I getting his name wrong? Dan. Oh man, I hope he's not watching.
Dan Huffman, our friend from
Dan Huffman. I was like, I know so many Dans. I was like, I don't want to butcher his name. He went to the Kid U where you and I were at,
Yeah,
And
I think
so
he serves on your
inspired.
I think he serves on your board, so you ought to remember his name.
Yeah, he's off the board right now.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
know a lot of Dan's with last names starting with H. He was
Okay.
so inspired by ministry within the world of kids. Pokemon
Yeah.
was taken off. He went home and created those great adventure cards for his ministry at the chapel
Cool.
and printed a bazillion of them. Ministry took him in all different directions. He donated them all to Kidology.
Wow.
It's a really cool Bible trading card system. So we've kind of taken that over, and they've taken over my garage. So just on Facebook, I offered a really cool deal,
Yeah.
and I'll extend it on this coffee.
Do it.
So every box has 2,000 cards in it. There are
Okay.
80 different cards from a bunch of different Bible stories. The Kids Collect series. I won't go into all the details, but he made
Uh-huh.
it a game. They're not just Bible stories. They collect series. There's a question. There's Bible verses. They cost me basically about $20 to ship them and get them out there. So I literally did a name your own price.
Nice.
So if people go to kidology.org and just go to our donation page, because they can,
Yeah.
it's just /donate. I say anything over, normally I think the cards sell for, I forget what it is. It's 50, $60.
Yeah.
But if they put in anything over $20, as long as they're in the United States, it's expensive, Africa or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything over $20, I'll mail them a box.
I love it.
We probably will not be reprinting those because of the cost of producing them. So when they're gone, they will be gone. The kids love them. I've got probably a couple hundred boxes left. And so if you've been using them or you love them, they last a long time. This is kind of a neat opportunity to snag some of those up.
Yeah.
Free up some space in my garage. I know we can't hand stuff out right now, but it's kind of a unique way. So super deal because you were on the Daily Coffee Chat with Ryan Frank.
The Great Adventure Bible Trading Cards. Go check them out. Carl, in a minute, we're going to talk about connecting with kids. But first, we talk about Kidology. And I don't want to make the assumption that everybody watching or listening is aware of what Kidology is. Will you take a minute, tell us how you started, why you started Kidology, and what is Kidology? What are people going to find there?
Yeah, Kidology.org was one of the first kids ministry websites. Ryan actually was our content coordinator way back in the day. And then he launched Kids Matter. It is basically a depository of creative ideas for children's ministry. If there's a store with tons of resources like Kids Matter has, like a lot of websites have, the real gold is in the zones. You click on ideas at the top. There's almost 100 zones from games, object lessons, puppet scripts, games, and they're user submitted. And so whatever you're teaching on, no matter what curriculum you use, you can put in your topic and find a game, a story, an object lesson, a script to supplement that. Sometimes you love your curriculum, but that week, you don't like this element or you're looking for something creative. So you can supplement your curriculum. And so there's just tons in there. Or you come up with a great object lesson, a great game that, you can't reuse something usually for a couple of years, but your kids loved it. I call it a tithe of your ministry time, to just take that extra time to just type up what you did, because you just scratched it on paper and you whipped it out. Take that few extra minutes to kind of clean it up and share it on Kidology, and then share it with the world so that other kids can enjoy it as well. We have over 25,000 downloads, digital resources that are there's stuff from Ryan on there. Search Ryan Frank, you'll find a bunch of stuff that Ryan has shared, that other kids pastors have shared. I put stuff on there almost weekly. Kidology started over 25 years ago, so it's been growing for years. I've been adding social distance games lately, because everyone's like, how do we play games 6 feet apart, no touchy? Just added 3 this week because I'm writing this month, and I was like, okay, I want the kids to have fun, but obviously we've got to be wise and safe and compliant, right? So right now you go to kidology.org/social distance games, and there's over a dozen new games, some with downloads, some just descriptions of, so it's just, there's always new stuff. So like anything, get on our newsletter list and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on there.
I love it. Kidology is the study of kids. And if there's anything I have learned from Karl, I've learned a lot of stuff from Karl over the years. I think one of your hallmark messages, Karl, that I hear you talk about a lot, and it's really, I think, at the heart of what you do, is that if you're going to be an effective minister to kids, you have to be willing to be a kid yourself. Talk to us about that.
Oh man, well, that's where Kidology came from. It's the study of kids, their culture, and their world. I just finished your Kidmin Academy course on bringing the Bible to life.
Yep.
And on the webinar that I did, a lot of times people know I call myself the Kidologist. And I often find myself explaining to people that title, self-given title, it's not a title of expert or guru. People often think, oh, he's the Kidologist because he thinks he knows everything about kids. I go, no, it's actually quite the opposite. When I was a young kids pastor, green thumb, didn't know, have a clue what I was doing. But I was good at it because I was basically, since I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew kids, I was using their games, their stories, their object lessons. I was using stuff from their world. And of course, kids loved me, right? And because when we're young, we're just immature and cool enough that we don't really have to be a scholar quite yet. We're kid magnets, right? But I looked at older children's teachers and directors that kind of weren't cool, and the kids gravitated toward me. And I had this kind of secret fear, that's me someday. And I kind of was like, I didn't want to become one of them. Well, now I am. I'm 50 years old. And so I was like, what's the secret to not becoming the old, out of date, out of touch, using old methods? And I realized I've got to always do what I'm doing now, using references to their movies, their books, their toys, their stories, their Happy Meal toys. And so Kidologist really meant I'm going to always be a student of today's culture, today's toys, today's what kids are into today. And so basically that means I never arrive. I've never become a master. I'm always got to be a learner. And as long as you're always a learner, and you're always studying, watching kids' movies, playing kids' games. That's why I play Fortnite. That's why there's a Fortnite map in the back of our kids' room. That's why I've got to know what kids are into, so that when I'm talking to kids, I can't be talking about, what they were into. Like I used to have all this Barney the Dinosaur humor and jokes, and today they don't know who Barney the Dinosaur is.
It's got to be an encouragement to everybody, because listen, if you can be old like Karl, and not really, I turned 45 this week, Karl. Angie in our office turns 50 today. And we were just talking this morning, like, man, you remember when 45 and 50 seemed old?
It ain't old. It ain't old.
It ain't old. Okay. So Karl, what about this? In all seriousness though, like, I feel like the older you get, maybe your kids get older, your kids, you're not watching cartoons at home anymore. How do you stay relevant? How do you stay connected to the world of kids? Like, for people that are like, man, I don't have kids at home anymore, or my kids are teenagers now. We don't go to, we don't shop the toy department. We don't watch Nick Jr. How do you stay connected to the world of kids?
Well, I subscribe to newsletters like Kid Screen.
Okay.
I always visit the toy aisle anytime I'm at Target or Walmart. I go through the toy aisle. I see what they're promoting. If there's something I don't recognize, I check it out. Anytime I see a kid on their device, especially if they're on their device at church and they're not supposed to, instead of, hey, turn that off, it's like, hey, what are you playing? What's the name of that app? And then I go download that app and I play a little bit of it. And so you're constantly investigating it. On our website, we've got a sheet, something I call All About Me sheet. If you go to kidology.org/allaboutme, every visitor, every kid in my ministry fills this fun sheet out. They get a prize if they bring it back. And it not only helps me learn about their culture with who's your favorite, actor, favorite book, favorite TV show. I had to add favorite app when I redid it a couple years ago. I study those. In fact, is it over there? I think it's in my kids' church room. When life was normal and I was getting those every week, I start my day reading through those. They have a picture of the kid, things I wish my parents knew. It's hard to be a kid because prayer requests. So I would take one of those a day, pray about a specific kid, And then you can compile those answers and share them with parents without the names attached.
Mm.
But those tools like that, basically you're an investigative reporter. You know, what are our kids going through? What are they playing with? And yeah, we don't have time to watch cartoons. But you can go on YouTube, you can ask kids what they're watching, you know, and look at what t-shirts they're wearing, you know.
That's a
and
good
if you
point.
don't know who Gumball is, you know, then you need to watch some Gumball videos on YouTube. Whippy Kid, you know, there's it takes some effort, but it gets you street cred. You know, and I always say,
That's a good
who are
point.
your friends? Your friends are people you have common interests with. And you know, you meet someone and you start talking and you find out you like the same teams, or you like the same movies, or they're into drones, you know, like I am. And all of a sudden you've got a friend. And then those friendships go deeper and you get beyond the superficial into deeper things. Well, that's the same with kids. The friendship starts because you have some things in common, but ultimately we want to go deeper. We want to get into faith talk and talking about God and what God's planned for their life. But we earn the right to go deeper by first forming that friendship on things that maybe seem superficial, and they are. But that's where friendships are initiated. I have close friends that I met talking Star Wars. You know, we got past Star Wars and now we're close friends. But the friendship started because we both like Star Wars. Star Wars isn't important, but it can be where a friendship initiates. And it could be baking, it could be college football. I mean, it could be anything unimportant in life, but that's where friendships start.
Well, we could stop right now, and I think you, Karl, this has been so valuable to everybody listening and watching. But let's keep the conversation going around kids, because you know, when kids show up on Sunday morning, when they show up on Wednesday night at the church, we have these opportunities to connect with them. You know, when we're able to go eat lunch with them at school, we're able to have some connection points, go to their baseball game. Well, here we find ourselves in this pandemic where there are no baseball games. Kids aren't eating lunch at school. If they are, you're definitely not allowed to go in there and eat with them. They more than likely, for a lot of you, they're not coming back to the church right now. So Karl, tell us what you discovered. Now, Karl, in addition to being the creator of Kidology and having all of these resources that he shares with the world, he's a kids pastor at a great, vibrant, growing church in Colorado. Karl, what are some things you've wrestled through and some ways that you have found to effectively connect with kids, even during a pandemic when things are so weird like that?
You know, it sounds crazy to say this has both been a challenging era, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, which sounds nuts. But as soon as this happened, I was on vacation up in the mountains with my family, and literally was on the drive back when my boss called and said, emergency meeting at church, you know, come straight to church. And it was Friday night, and it was like, there's no church on Sunday. What are we going to do? I spent all day Saturday creating an online kids church. A lot of folks use those services. We went full blown. If you go to kidology.org/kids church online, I was producing full kids church services. I worked with Yancey and Uncle Charlie and others to get music rights. And those are all there. There's still multiple services. But as we know, there became this Zoom fatigue and video fatigue. Then we got into summer. Kids didn't want to watch long videos. And then I did webinars. I did webinars on going digital, how to do video editing, how to film, how to do green screen. In fact, if you go to kidology.org/COVID-19, I've listed everything there. I've given free permission for churches to use my toy box tales and countdowns and all these things in their videos. But now we're in this stage where it's summer. Now they're going back to school. A lot are online. And I was like, boy, how do I minister? In fact, I've been talking to my pastor about, we are reopened, but I'm open to about 25% of my kids because of social distancing, families not being comfortable coming back yet. How do I become the pastor of the kids who aren't back yet? So I launched a whole new website just for my kids. It's simply pastorkarl.com. It's soon going to be an app in the Apple Store and the Google Store. I'm working on that. And it's obviously it's a totally free thing. It's just something I'm doing because I realize I've got kid content from years of being a kids pastor sitting on my computer, or YouTube videos I was joking with one of them yesterday. I'm visiting a family that's moving, and we were going through the site, and there's videos that literally have 20 views because I made them to show in church. They weren't made for Kidology. And then they're on YouTube after church and they have 17 views and they were from a year ago. And I'm like, it went viral. I should have monetized it. So I'm throwing this content on this website. So the kids now, the families on Sunday, they can go to pastorkarl.com. They click the Sunday button and I'm putting up shorter videos. I'm doing a series right now called A Word with Wilbur. And here's Wilbur. I have him right here on my desk.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, whoa, am I in line? Wait, is my hair okay? Ha, oh, is that Ryan Frank? Ha.
Hey, Wilbur. Yeah.
I'm starstruck. Ha, Ryan. Ha.
Wilbur, tell us a joke.
Oh, okay. What? Two candy bars. Wait, two. This is a lot of pressure on the spot here. Anyway, that's
come on. You don't have a joke off the top of your head, Karl?
Oh, I could, but not Wilbur. He's too.
Not Wilbur. Okay, my bad.
But I found that what I'm doing is I'm creating shorter videos, and they're available on Kidology. But other churches can use them. I'm making stuff generic, so I don't mention my church name. So other churches, they can use it if they want. But then I'm finding that my viewership's going up because they're short, and then parents can watch them. So on Sunday, for the kids that are here, I'm running like 25 kids.
Yeah.
We show it as part of the service. And then online, there's discussion questions, but then I'm adding like bonus content online. So I'm telling the kids at church, hey, there's videos online that I'm not showing you because I don't want to watch videos all morning. So there's Toy Box Tales and old object talks from Discipletown. Because I'm trying to get the kids to watch online at home with their parents so that the parents will then have a spiritual conversation about it. Plus then they're clicking around, and then you guys are going to be the first to hear this. All right. My parents don't even know this.
Yeah.
I just launched a podcast. So if you go to Apple Podcasts or Google, it's called Pastor Karl's Bedtime Stories. And so this is a way for me to get into the home, and literally you can say, Alexa, play Apple Podcasts, Pastor Karl's Bedtime Stories.
Getting Pastor Karl's Bedtime Stories from Apple Podcasts.
Nice.
Playing the latest episode, How Everything Began.
Welcome to Pastor Karl's Bedtime Stories.
Can you hear that?
Thanks for joining me. And really,
Alexa,
you can listen
pause.
anytime. I love telling.
So this way,
And that's neat.
I have a way to get in, and it's free. Doing podcasts is free.
Yeah.
And so this way I can get into the home. In fact, I was visiting this family yesterday moving to Florida, and they had the last thing in their empty house was their Alexa plugged in. Oh, cancel. And I was able to this little girl was just so delighted when I told her what to say to her. You can't say her name or she starts.
No, you can't. Yep.
But I was able to say to her what to say to that device, and she was just squealing, because now she can go to Florida and I'm able to go with her through this device and continue to have a ministry to her. So, we have to think about how do we minister to kids outside of Sunday morning? And you don't have to launch a whole website. Not everyone can do that. I understand that, but you can use Facebook Live.
Yep.
You can send home videos. But let's think old school. Kids love getting stuff in the mail. How many of us as parents know when we bring the mail in, our kids say, anything for me? And we want to say,
right.
no, of course not. Why would there anything for you, right? But they ask every day, anything for me? Well, put together little packets and mail stuff home to your kids. Or go old school. And especially, I know most of our people watch right now, they're in small churches because most churches in America aren't huge.
Yeah.
Bring back old school visitation. And with COVID, don't go in. In fact, most people maybe don't want you coming in. Drop by with a little gift package and a balloon and a Ziploc bag with some treats. Ring the doorbell and have your mask on and keep your distance. Hey, I just want you to know I miss seeing you at church. I know we can't gather right now. I just want you to know we miss you so much. So I brought you a little gift, and just gauge their comfort level. stay on the
If you
porch.
could just do 1 or 2 of those a week.
Oh, do one on your drive home each day.
Yeah, that's it.
If you did one a day,
Yeah.
we picture Jesus on the crowds, but Jesus ministered to in small group. You think of the impact of one,
That's
and if you visited 3 kids a week, it adds up. It's like those pennies in the jar,
It does
right?
have that.
And you visited 1 or 2 kids a week, by the fall, when this all will miraculously disappear on November 4th, sorry,
Boom, boom. Yep.
think of how many kids you will have visited, and or handwritten notes. I'm a big believer in writing to kids. So do I have my stationery here? Everything's like crazy right now. I have to make some new ones, but I have this stationery that I made where you draw pictures, and then you just leave this much room to write, and you write with Crayola markers. So you don't have to write epistles, but you can write a quick note to a kid, drop it in the mail, throw some stickers in there, and if you just wrote one handwritten note a day,
That's
drop
right.
it in the mail to a kid,
That's
or even phone calls. And if you do a puppet, I do this thing where I'll call on the phone, and they're gonna be hang up, and I'll do this thing where I'll be like, hey, this is Gus, and I haven't seen you at church lately, and I miss you a lot. And then I do this. This is gonna look funny, but I do this thing with my arm to create on the voice audio, and then I'll be like, Gus, what are you doing on my phone? Oh, I was just calling Ryan, let him know I miss him at church. What are you doing? No, I'm sorry. And then I come in, I grab the phone, and then I switch. Hello, Gus, there's no one here. No, I was leaving a message. You're leaving a message, yeah. And I will do this, one of those calls. Parents will tell me their kid listened to that voicemail message, because no one answers the phone anymore, right?
No, they don't.
Listen to that message over and over and over.
That's fun.
And by just doing this arm extension thing, to them it sounds so real. Like I was coming in the room, and I grabbed the phone from the puppet, and then the puppet was far away, and they love it. And they will email me this long email. Thank you. You have no idea, how much it meant that Gus called,
Yeah.
So just think of those little things you can do that don't take that long, but have a huge impact on the kids in your church.
Love it. This has been great. Karl, thanks for being with me. Karl, would you wrap up by just take 1 or 2 minutes, a word of encouragement to someone out there who's just discouraged right now? Maybe they're tired, stuff going on at home or at the church, or just uncertainty. Would you just speak some encouragement over this community?
Yeah, here's what I would say. We live in a world, obviously, where people, I think I see a lot of Facebook posts where people are discouraged by how many views their videos get, how many people get on their Zoom calls, how many likes. And I just want to say, your success is not how many people view, download, like, click, heart. Your success is one thing: your faithfulness to Jesus. And never forget that. Our job as ministers is to be faithful to our calling.
That's exactly
right. That's all it is. So if you do a Zoom call and 2 families show up, that is success. If you send out, an email, or you do a Facebook Live and 4 kids get on that call, that is success. Because the numbers are not what's important. The faithfulness is important. And I've heard, I've read people say, I quit doing it because, when I started out, I'd have, 50 families, now only 3 families. Those 3 families that join you, they're joining you because they need it.
That's right.
So just be faithful. Our success is not based on those numbers. It's just our faithfulness. It's what we faithfully do. And people, even if they don't log on, they see that we're being faithful. They see that we're offering it. We see that we're reaching out. And that faithfulness that we've shown during this season is what's going to bring them back to church, because they're going to see that we didn't give up, that we kept being available, that we kept offering, we kept providing, we kept sending things out. And even if they weren't responsive because they were discouraged or they were overwhelmed or they were just dealing with life, their work, their job, their family, whatever, they're recognizing that faithfulness, even if they're not showing it now. If we give up, then what's to bring them back when because this too shall pass.
Yep.
And so we need to be faithful even when we don't see the signs of the results that we'd like to see right now. So just hang in there, be faithful, be creative, focus on individuals and not the mass ministry. We're all into mass ministry right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how our culture's gotten with the internet. How did we minister before the internet? Maybe we need to go back to some of that.
A really good point.
Yeah. So success is faithfulness. That's all it is.
It's Karl Bastian. If this has blessed you today and you're not on Karl's email list, please go to kidology.org, sign up and get on Karl's email list. Let Karl know if him or his team can serve you in any way. They would love to do that. Karl, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You're a great friend. Thanks for everything you're doing for the Kidmin community and in your church. Love you.
Awesome. Have a great day, everybody.
All right, thanks. Everybody go check out kidology.org and please, please, please jump on Karl's email list. I'm on Karl's email list. I enjoy getting emails from kidology.org, and I know they will help you and be an encouragement to you in your ministry to kids and families. Tomorrow, I'm going to be joined by Lori Beathrin. Lori is the children's pastor at the largest church in America, Lakewood Church. Can't wait to invite her into the conversation. We're going to talk tomorrow about how to identify pain points that parents are feeling and then minister to those pain points. It's going to be a very, very practical and helpful conversation tomorrow. Friends, thanks for joining me in the Daily Coffee Chat. Look forward to the conversation rolling through the day in Kids Matters I Love Kidmin Facebook community. If you're not following Kids Matter on Instagram, why don't you stop what you're doing right now, launch the Instagram app, find Kids Matter, KIDZMATTER. Find Kids Matter on Instagram and follow Kids Matter for some great ideas and help and to discover new resources as they show up on kidsmatter.com. Thanks for joining me on the Coffee Chat, friends. We will see you tomorrow.